Howdy guys, Radio Magic here. I hope you're all having a fantastic morning, day, afternoon or evening, wherever you are and whatever you are up to. Today we are back with our series on the channel with how viable is Control in historic meta. And by God, have we got a janky one today with Izzet Control. So this list I expect to not be particularly competitive. It's more for fun and something to just try, but we know the problems that 3-color control lists have with their inconsistency on finding their colors of mana and the fact they can't run utility in the mana base. So we're trying Izzet Control to try and fix them problems, but we get to try some cards that we haven't played with in almost a year, over a year maybe. We'll get onto them when we come into the deck tech. But speaking of the deck tech, we'll go on to that in a second. If you guys already know what this list does from looking at this, and you know what Control does and how it sort of works, and you understand already my rationale for putting some of the cards in, then go down to the description below and you'll find some timestamps for the games. So feel free to go down and check them out. There's no spoilers down there for how we did, so go check that out. There's a deck list down there as well. So if you don't want to listen to a deck tech now, feel free to. But for those of you that would like to listen to a deck tech and the rationale for why I built the list in the manner I built it, then yeah, coming up now. So this Izzet Control list has been tailored slightly towards burn, and you can probably tell that from looking at the list. There's a lot of cards in this list that can do direct damage to our opponent's face at the same time. And we've got some creatures, adventure creatures, to help with that damage. So in matchups where our opponent's trying to grind us out, maybe Azorius or something, we actually have a really good matchup, I think, against the opposing control lists that don't have much life gain outside of Absorb. Yeah, I feel like it's okay. So we'll go over to a deck tech real quick and I'll explain why I've put some of the stuff in that we've put in. So we started with 4 ops. This is just going to help the consistency of the just deck as a whole. We're going to cycle through our deck a little bit easier. Having an opt in our opening hand gives us some flexibility on the hands we can keep. 2 land hands with an opt somewhat are now keepable, especially also on the play, so we can opt into finding something. And yeah, it works with some of our other bits as well with our Rao and Niv-Mizzet, which we'll come on to in a minute, just because opt is just something that sort of pulls the whole list together as some synergy. This is a card that when I first started playing Magic, into 6 months maybe of playing, I never played opt. I never understood the rationale for playing it, because it's like 1 mana, you're just wasting your mana to do something else. I'd rather just play a good card. And one of my friends, though, I think's watching the channel right now, he said, no, Opt is one of the best cards in Magic for what it does. It's just insane. So we're trying out Opt, and once I tried Opt, I never went back. So yeah, just really, really good control piece. And yeah, just like I said, just some filtering for the list. We're then playing 2 Lightning Strikes as our interaction. So like I said, the list is slightly tailored towards burn. So shooting our opponent in the face or at Planeswalkers. So that's why we're playing Lightning Strike above Lava Coil. So Lava Coil has a little bit more range on it, a bit more flexibility of its effect as well. Being able to exile something is really good. But Lightning Strike can go at our Narsets. If our opponent has one, they come down and down tick, like Nissas. There's other Planeswalkers. If they come down to Fairy Tuck something, Lightning Strike can finish that off. And in some matchups, this isn't going to be dead, since we can just burn our opponent's face, and it's a little bit of reach in the late game as well. We're then running 4 Brazen Borrowers. This is just some like interaction, some tempo. We don't have a lot of answers to stuff once they resolve, so we're hoping that we can bounce the stuff back to our opponent's hand and then counter on the way down. And the 3 mana 3/1 flying flash is not irrelevant. This can pressure Planeswalkers quite easily, and it's just going to smack our opponent. If this can get in like 2 hits, deal like 6 damage to our opponent, as well as bounce something back, this is golden. This is insane. When you pair that with Iron Eyes and some of the other little damage dealers we have in the list, the damage can stack up real fast. So Brazen Borrower. It's also really good along with Bone Crusher Giant. For people who have watched the channel a little bit, know that I'm a really big fan of Bone Crusher Giant because it fills out the curve. This gives us something to do on turn 2 and on turn 3 as well, and works really well with our counter magic, because we can either counter something or cast a Brazen Borrower. Either or, it sort of puts our opponent in a little bit of a precarious situation. We're then running 4 Bone Crusher Giants because you love it, and this is the main reason to play red, I think, one of the main reasons. When we're playing Jeskai, you got to make sure you have them Bone Crusher Giants. Being able to shock something or stomp something for 2 mana, and then cast a 3 mana 4/3 that also burns your opponent a little bit as well. It's quite a lot of burn. It's like 4 points of burn if your opponent answers it straight away, and it gets a card out of their hand. So yeah, Bone Crusher Giant really good. I've gone on about this in pretty much every list that we play red in. We play Bone Crusher Giant. I think Bone Crusher Giant is actually one of the most played cards on Arena at the moment. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that, but I think it feels like it is. So yeah, that's why we are running this. We're then running 4 Sweltering Suns as our board wipe for choice. This cycles in the matchups where we don't want a board wipe, or it's just pretty competent board wipe when we do want it. So yeah, Swearing Suns is not much of a rationale for that, just we need some sort of board wipe. There's another board wipe that we're running in the sideboard, but yeah, this is our main deck one. Then for Ionizes, finally getting to try out Ionize, because Ionize, I loved playing this when I played Jeskai back in the day in Standard, Paper Magic. Shocking your opponent on a counter spell always felt really good to me, but obviously Absorb just beats this out. You want Absorb over Ionize pretty much all of the time. But this is a matchup with our Izzet Burn control list that Ionize is going to be really good for. So hopefully the Shock is going to be relevant along with Lightning Strikes, Bone Crusher Giants, and just some other damage dealers. But Ionize is our counter spell of choice. We're then running 3 Chandra Torch Defiance, because why wouldn't we? This is one of the reasons when I thought, what control list am I going to play today? It was one that was like, I have to incorporate red, because Chandra Torch Defiance, I'm in a Chandra mood. For those of you that have watched the channel, watch any Jeskai in that, you know that I love Chandra, so let's fit her in wherever possible. She does everything you want to do on a Planeswalker, so that is why we are running Chandra. We're then trying a card that I don't think I've ever seen play in Magic, ever. Apart from when it was in Limited, because I think it was a really good card in Limited. With Rouse Outburst, a 4-mana Izzet instant that Rouse Outburst deals 3 damage to any target. Look at the top 2 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand and one of them into your graveyard. So we really wish this said like draw a card or some sort of effect, because it works with some of our other Planeswalkers. But the idea that this is can go at opponent's face, can go at a Planeswalker, and it replaces itself. So essentially it's 4 mana for a free burn spell is why we're playing this. Rouse Outburst is really good. Let's be honest. Come on, like this card is going to be pretty awful most of the time, and I'd imagine we're going to be sideboarding it out. But I think I want to give it a try. Let's see if it has any synergy, because it does have a little bit with like Rao putting instant and sorceries into the graveyard. It does with Niv-Mizzet as well, but it doesn't draw a card for Niv-Mizzet, which is unfortunate. But like I said, the flexibility of going to face for free. So if you have a spare turn where your opponent just does nothing, say we go turn 4, we have Rouse Outburst and like Ionize in hand, or Brazen Borrower, for example, and our opponent just passes the turn because they're scared of a counter spell. Well, then we can just Rouse Outburst your face. If you want to counter it, that's fine. Like, you're countering a Rouse Outburst. That's absolutely fine. If not, we just get free damage on them for free, and we get a card off the top of our library of a selection of 2 as well. So it's not draw a single card, which is, yeah, pretty good. So we're going to give it a try and see how it goes, and we'll give her our evaluation at the end. Then we're trying Rao Izzet Viceroy, because Rao was something that was really, really fun when it first came out. It wasn't the most powerful Planeswalker in the world, and it still isn't, as Magic power creeps in time. Rao Izzet Viceroy just gets worse and worse, but still pretty competent Planeswalker. 5 mana in the Izzet colours for 5 loyalty, and its +1 can look at the top 2 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand and one of them into the graveyard. So it's like the secondary effect of Rouse Outburst. -3, it can deal damage to a target creature equal to the number of instants and sorcery cards you own in exile and in your graveyard. So we're not exiling any instants and sorceries, but it's relevant for some other little bits. Say our opponent was scavenging using our graveyard, which actually does come up from time to time. It won't affect Rao. And then Rouse -8 effectively wins the game. You get an emblem with whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, this emblem deals 4 damage to any target and you draw 2 cards. So in terms of instants and sorceries in the list, we are running, how many are we running? 26 plus 8. So 34, sorry, bad at math, 34 instants and sorceries. So plenty of ways to fill the graveyard for Rao, and plenty of reasons to trigger his ultimate at the same time, but his ultimate is going to be pretty easy to work with anyway. And with the amount of instants and sorceries in the list, why not play Niv-Mizzet Perun? So Niv-Mizzet is 6 mana, it's triple blue, triple red, so not an easy card to cast. Would never run this in Jeskai just because a single planes and you're not going to be able to cast a Niv-Mizzet. But yeah, a legendary creature, dragon wizard, flying, and this spell cannot be countered. But more importantly, so it can't be countered, so that's really relevant in a lot of matchups. Whenever you draw a card, Niv-Mizzet deals 1 damage to any target, and then whenever any player casts an instant or sorcery, we get to draw a card. So Niv-Mizzet is insane. Most of the time, this is going to 2-for-1 your opponent, because if your opponent answers it in the form of an instant or sorcery, you'll get to draw a card and ping something straight away, so it replaces itself. But if we get to play Niv-Mizzet, for example, on turn 7, and just combine that with an Opt, That's really good. That's a free opt that didn't cost you a card, and you gain a card, so you're netting something off that. And yeah, if you can play Niv-Mizzet on, say for example, turn 9, holding up an Ionize, and your opponent tries to remove it, and you draw a card off that, and then you Ionize and draw a card off that, and then they counter, and you draw a card off that. That's so much value, and it adds with the burn plan on the list. So when I went in to build this control list, I thought, what do I want to play? I want to play Chandra Torture Defiance, I want to play Bone Crusher Giant, and I want to play Niv-Mizzet. So what other list would we put this in? And another card that I haven't seen play in a while is Expansion Explosion, which is a pretty insane card. It has the pretty good flexibility on it. We can spend 2 hybrid Izzet to copy an instant or sorcery spell, anyone, our opponent can control it, with CMC 4 or less, and we may choose new targets for the spell. So sort of works as a semi-counter spell in them counter spell wars, so really good against control. And if we're against like an aggro list with a few burn spells or something, we can always copy them burn spells and throw them back at our opponent's face. And on top of Niv-Mizzet, Rao, and Chandra, this is also a card advantage with Explosion. Explosion is extremely overcosted, like similar to Sphinx's Revelation, but instead of gaining life, we're dealing damage to any target. So normally we're casting this for 1 or 2 mana, X equals 1 or 2, maybe 3 or 4, drawing a few cards, and yeah, just getting a little bit of value off of it. Chandra can come down on turn 4 as well, and then we can tick up on turn 5 and deal this free, spend all of our mana and draw some cards off it. So really good. And you've got the synergy with Niv-Mizzet, since if you deal damage to your opponent and you draw 3 cards, you get to ping with Niv-Mizzet, and then each card you draw triggers Niv-Mizzet as well. So just so much damage. Yeah, pretty insane. But that is the list. On the mana a little bit, we got 4 Shatterskull Smashing. This is our value that I was talking about playing in the mana. Since we're in red, we have the flexibility of this. And yeah, it's really good. It's a bolt land, but so the utility is very low, so it can enter untapped if we want it to. But just having some extra removal that also works with all of our synergy of our Planeswalkers is really good. Since Shatterskull Smashing is always a sorcery unless it is on the battlefield. So it works in the graveyard with Rao, Izzet Viceroy. On the mana, we have 3 temples in there. I've only got 1 of each set, unfortunately. But yeah, 3 temples. Could have run the 4th one. I'm not sure. I didn't want to run too many tap lands. We're then running 3 pathways. I was running 4 pathways originally, but I decided to cut 1 because I wanted to put extra castle Vantress in with some extra value, and we need to make sure that we have enough mountains and islands in the list so that our Sulphur Falls enters untapped, and our Castle Vantresses, since it's going to be really unfortunate if we draw too many of them. And onto the sideboard, we're running a pretty bog standard sideboard. We've got a few differences in here. So a Grafdigger's Cage, I don't think this needs much of an explanation. I am starting to feel with the more that I'm playing Historic at the moment, the more Grafdigger's Cage isn't really necessary. Apart from Goblins, I'm not really seeing any lists at the moment that Cage really hits. It does hit against a few lists, like I've seen Arclight Phoenix popping up a little bit, and there's still Lurrus of the Dream Den, Pyromancer lists. But yeah, apart from like Goblins and Pyromancer, there's not too much going on. You've got the Jund Sacrifice list, I guess, Rakdos Sacrifice. But Grafdigger's Cage, I don't know, maybe it's time to knock this out of the sideboard. But at the moment, I'm still going to run it until I think of something else to put in. Our counter spells of choice are Negate and Tail's End. Tail's End is seeing an insane amount of play, even to the point of which I think this might just be better in the main deck. It hits on pretty much everything, and the flexibility to counter and activate a triggered ability is really, really good. Stopping them Planeswalker ultimates or any sort of activation of anything, Tail's End's really, really good. Some extra removal in the form of Lava Coil. Maybe we need to exile something. Maybe an Uro's like pestering us, so let's Lava Coil that away. Narsets, because why not? We need these in so many different matchups. They're good against control. They're good against the Sultai matchup, the 4-color Uro shenanigans matchup. And when we need some extra value, it's really good. But we're not running these in the main because we want a high density of instants and sorceries. And also, Narset doesn't grab our Brazen Borrowers, our Bone Crusher Giants, or our Niv-Mizzet, so we don't necessarily want to run these in the main. And then our second board wipe of choice is Hour of Devastation. There's quite a few lists at the moment, and it's been popping up quite a bit recently. The Hate Bears deck, I don't know if anyone's been playing Arena much and seen this, but you might have seen it on the videos that I've been playing recently. The Thalia, the 1-drop dog that gives indestructible to something. And yeah, it's just really good value. And I saw one today that was running Dusk Dawn. Yeah, this is Hour of Devastation is a catch-all answer to that. If your opponent tries to give indestructible to their threats, then Hour of Devastation can answer that. Also, this is really good against Nissa, kind of, as well, since it mops up all of the lands that Nissa casts. plays, as well as taking a lot of loyalty off of the Nissa at the same time, since this hits Planeswalkers. It misses a lot of our Planeswalkers, since Chandra can come down, tick up, and then tick up again, and then out of Devastation misses it. But it's a little bit of a nombo, since it hits Niv Mizzet, it hits our Planeswalkers at the same time, and our creatures, but we want the flexibility of having a second board wipe. And then our answer to control is Chandra Awakened Inferno. 6 mana, this spell cannot be countered. And then we get to +2 to give our opponent an emblem that deals a damage to them at the beginning of each upkeep, at the beginning of each of their upkeeps. It's -3, can wipe the board, deals 3 damage to each non-elemental creature. And Chandra can deal, and then it's -X, is it deals X damage to target creature or planeswalker. And then if it would die, it's exiled instead. So Chandra Awakened Inferno is pretty good. It's a really good answer to them counterspell matchups. This, along with Niv Mizzet, makes it really difficult for our opponent to just sit back with their counter magic. They do have to find an answer. And if we +2 this a few times, it starts to clock our opponent. It's really difficult for them to answer that. So that is the list. It was quite a long deck tech, actually. It was quite a lot of rationale as to why we put the cards in. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I hope that it sort of provided some sort of rationale as to why we're playing the cards we're playing. But I'll shut up now. We'll move on to some games. And I'll catch you again at the end of the wrap-up. So, what do we think of this hand? I mean, it's okay. Opt's going to dig us to something else, and we've got our late game curve, so hopefully our opponent's not on the Four.Vs plan. And Rouse Outburst is okay. We'll see. Unexciting, but, like, okay. We're not going to opt now, see what our opponent does. They might have a Four.Vs, in which case we'd want to opt after. Against turn 1 Mountains, so opponent's on, like, Goblins or mono red. I guess in both cases we'd like the Sweltering Suns. Okay, like mono red. Guess we'll just hold up Brazen Borrower. Can bounce something back. Tempo our opponent a little bit. Okay, lab stage. Yeah, so just burn. Was it the second one? Oh. Sure, so we're gonna get to Sweltering Suns these away. And then our opponent gets to follow up with a Robber of the Rich. Chandra into Robber. We're just going to hope that our Niv Mizzet can close the game as quickly as possible. Opponent got our own Chandra. So, we need to find a land. I don't really want to Rouse Outburst, but finding a land would be quite essential. Yeah, I'd really like to like Bone Crusher Giant, bounce Chandra. I guess it makes our opponent spend their whole turn again. Hope to draw land. If we don't draw land, then we could always Rouse Outburst next turn. We'll give ourselves the opportunity to draw land. I'm going to add red to their mana pool. No, just shock us. With a Ramanap Ruins. Nice. Bomat Courier, yes. So we take a little bit more damage of Robber the Rich and they get some cards off of it. Or do we target the Bomat Courier? I guess we target Robber. Because Bomat Courier will die easily to the Niv Mizzet. So really hoping for a land off the top. Untap land. No. So just Rouse Outburst here. Okay, so found land. And then, yeah, Niv Mizzet next turn. And we're going to hope that we're on a high enough life total to stabilize. Our opponent can combine Chandra with a burn spell. Oh. Oh, no. No. Yeah, this is going to be... I think Hazoret came down a little bit too early for us. I think missing that land drop might have been quite bad. Because Hazoret's going to... Yeah, Hazoret's just going to kill us by herself. So we can Swirling Suns away the Goblin Chain Whirler. Yeah, I think that's over. We can Swirling Suns to Goblin Chain Whirler away. Play Bone Crusher Giant to block. But Chandra can just shoot that. We can play Niv-Mizzet. But our opponent can... I guess they can activate Hazoret twice, kill us. I'm just thinking, do we want to show them Niv-Mizzet? I don't think we can win from here. No, because, yeah, we're dead. With the Ramunap Ruins as well. Yeah, like, had Niv-Mizzet came down last turn, who knows? Well, I guess Chandra combined with Chain Whirler would have done it. So I think we want our Hour of Devastations for Hazoret as one of our only answers. Rouse Outburst is too slow, I think. Expansion Explosion is too slow. Niv-Mizzet is going to be our way of closing the game real quick. Don't know if we want all of our all of our Hour of Devastations. Maybe we just keep in the Outbursts. Just swap the Expansion Explosions for Hour of Devastation and a bit more interaction with Lava Coil. Could bring in Chandra as well, but I think this is more against Azorius and other counterspell matchups, so we'll run it like that. Okay, so hindsight is 2020, but I think we should have probably kept in the Expansion Explosions. Just thinking about it, just because we can copy our opponent's burn spells. Gives us something to do on turn 3. Because we have Bone Crusher Giant as well, but oh well. So yeah, Bone Crusher Giant here. And are we just playing out Bone Crusher Giant instead of holding up Iron Eyes this turn? Yeah, I think I prefer getting pressure into play before we hold up our counter spells. And countering a Chandra or Hazoret on turn 4 feels better than a yeah, Soul Scum Mage, I guess. So putting the -1/-1 counters on Bone Crusher, but it doesn't matter since it's dying anyway. So let's just pass and see what our opponent's got. Can I know something called Rouse Outburst? I think we'll take the 1. Opponent's just playing out. I think we Rouse Outburst this. We take the extra 2, but I think I'd rather have the counter spell. Yeah, I think a board wipe's okay. Do you prefer board wipe or counter spell? Probably board wipe. I'm just getting down a Row here, yeah, and ticking up. Really just dig in for our Niv-Mizzet. Once we find Niv-Mizzet, we should be able to close the game quite quickly. Could see a Chandra here. Our opponent missed a few land drops. Or missed one land drop. Yeah, Chandra. So Hour of Devastation can mop that up. We'll lose our Row in the process, but... Oof. So we'll lose our Row next turn either way.
The search for the unknown. That's real science.
So I guess we just Hour of Devastation here so we can catch the Chandra now. Because if the Chandra ticks up any more, it gets out of range. It's either that or we allow the Chandra 1 activation and we can Lightning Strike it in the end step, holding up Iron Eyes. And then we get to Hour of Devastation, catching more of what our opponent's doing. I'm just really worried about Hazoret, and we'll be shields down this turn, so opponent can just play Hazoret. I really don't want to go shields down, because we'll be giving up both of our answers to it. Because if we Hour of Devastation and they get down a Hazoret, then the Ionize is no longer an answer to it. Opponent's just going to finish off Rao here. We have the backup one.
This'll be easy.
So yeah, we can catch that. Okay, so they also get to shock us here. Or they get to cast the Bone Crusher Giant, which they're going to do. Sure, okay, so we're taking 3 damage here, but then we get to catch all of these. And we know our opponent doesn't have a Hazoret in hand. So, just got to fade 1 draw, I guess. I guess we even have the Brazen Borrower now, though.
I don't need this.
So we can, if they do have a Hazoret, we can bounce it back to the hand. So sitting on 12 is like a little bit comfortable, but not like, I mean, we're not out of the woods. We're on 10, but... Right, so, yeah, Rao into... Is this can't hit Planeswalkers, can it? No. Shoot Bone Crusher Giant, and then we'll hold up Brazen Borrower / Ionize. Wait for our opponent to go to combat. Opponent's got the answer to Rao. We couldn't have stopped that either way. So yeah, we're just gonna get down the Bone Crusher Giant here to put some pressure into play, and we can end step Brazen Borrower if we want to. Yeah, if they want to charge this Brazen Borrower in to draw a card off the top of our deck, that's fine. They got Chandra, but they won't be able to use it. Let's opt now, have a look what we find. I don't think we need Hour of Devastation now. Niv-Mizzet, like Rao, Chandra would be really good. Opt into opt. We're just going to attack for free. Maybe we could have actually gone for more, and then we could bounce the Brazen, the Burning Tree Emissary and play it again. So if our opponent activates Castle Embereth now, we'll just bounce it. And then that's our opponent's turn gone. I'm just going to scoop it up there. So I think we got really lucky there. Our opponent was a little bit slow and they missed a land drop. But yeah, I don't know if we want these expansion explosions. Being able to copy our opponent's removal seems okay. It's really a conversation between them and Rao's Outburst, I think. We'll run it like that and see how we get on. Like, Rao's Outburst is okay. It can go at face. I guess this can... No, I think... Let's bring in them instead of the Rao's Outburst. So this hand has our Niv-Mizzet in. It also can catch us up a little bit of Sweltering Sun. So probably going to keep this. This is a hand where we boarded in the expansion explosions over the... We're going to need to hit our... We'll play this tapped, I guess, first. So the Soulful Center untapped. Yeah, this is a hand where our expansion explosion works out better than our Rao's Outburst. Because if our opponent does something on 2 that we don't like, we could always copy it. So yeah, if our opponent has like a burn spell here... Guess we'll take the 2, since he gets caught up in Sweltering Suns next turn. So does that. So our opponent just goes Chandra next turn, don't they? That's what they've done every turn so far. I guess we still bite. And we could always like Brazen Borrower, copy it, bounce Chandra, and something else. On curve.
You are not. Today's my lucky day.
So can't add blue to our mana pool from Chandra, unfortunately. Do we just get down our own one? And then next turn we can Niv-Miz it?
It's my turn. Oh, this is gonna hurt.
Yeah, and then Niv-Miz it comes down next turn if they can't kill our Chandra. Which is asking a lot, but... Oh, no! Please don't have a 2-drop. No!
You're going down.
No! Okay, sure. And then Hazarat finishes off Chandra. So, the turn 5 Niv-Miz it is dead. So, I guess we have to Brazen Borrow, like, bounce both. Lava Coil doesn't work. Let's copy. We'll let the Chandra go off, and our opponent can only play one thing next turn. I guess if we bounce both of these, our opponent will have 4 cards in hand, so they'll have to play Chandra tick up. We'll wait.
This'll be easy.
Opponent got a Lightning Strike. Sweet. Yep. Love to copy that, but I think we've got to let that go. If it was bad, our opponent gets to go Burning Tree Emissary. So let's just bounce both these back. And then hopefully our Niv-Miz it next turn will be enough. Hopefully, yeah, Lava Coil can maybe answer something. Opponent gets to go Hazarat though. Or Chandra into Hazarat.
This is gonna hurt.
Oh. I don't think we can afford to block this. I mean, we got to block it, haven't we? But like, we can't block it. Right, can we kill our opponent this turn? So our opponent's on an effective 13, 12 after this. I don't think we can kill our opponent. Are we getting another turn? So we could kill the Burning Tree Emissary with this, and the other Lava Coil will kill both of them. We'd need to block the Hazarat though, that's the problem. I guess we're hoping to like draw an answer to the Hazarat like another Brazen Borrower. So if we draw Brazen Borrower, then we're going to bounce Hazarat. But Hazarat will still hit. Yeah, we need to just, I don't know, hope for a miracle. Okay, target there. I mean, it's not happening, but let's do the best we can. No, yeah, the dream ends there. No. I guess we could have planned to draw Bone Crusher Giant. We'd still be blocking though, wouldn't we? Because we can kill Chandra here with Niv-Miz it, and then Bone Crusher Giant can block Hazarat, but then Ramunap Ruins plus Burning Tree Emissary kills us.
Whatever. Figure it out on your own.
I assume our opponent sees the line. But yeah, we are just dead on board. So close though. So close. Yeah, Ramunap Ruins is dead. There was a reason Ramunap Ruins was banned. It's good bit of reach. Opponent had 4 points of burn there. But yeah, sweet. Losing against mono red there, unfortunately. But let's move on to the next one. This hand has some light interaction and Niv Mizzet to top up the curve, so we'll keep it. Niv Mizzet Perun. What do we think of this? Still unplayable? Like, probably. We already have something big to do with Niv Mizzet, so probably just bottom this. We've got our interaction. We're a little bit off copying one of our spells. Okay, so our opponent's on, like, mono blue? Because they didn't... Oh, maybe Azorius, but they went and got the island so they could play the Vantress on turn 2, so their mana's a little bit messed up. They did mulligan to 5, I think. Okay, yeah, Azorius. Sure, so if our opponent ticks down here, we'll just finish this off. Okay, so against Azorius, what do we think our odds are now? Like, I like our matchup against Azorius. I normally say that though, and it doesn't work out particularly good. So I assume our opponent just goes for the Shark Typhoon here. Nope. So just try and finish off Gideon. So opponent let down Shark Typhoon. And yeah, I don't know how opponent's going to answer Niv Mizzet. I guess they have Cast Out, which is a really good answer to Niv Mizzet. We can probably find a Brazen Borrower to like bounce the Cast Out. But our opponent hasn't got many cards. I think we're just getting down Rao here, aren't we? We only have 1 instant or sorcery in the graveyard. Nevertheless, I still think we're getting down Rao. We'll just tick up.
Ooh, a battle. I'm all tingly. Or it might just be static.
So yeah, Rao, like, showing his downside here when you don't have even your second instant or sorcery to trigger it.
Hope we get something good.
Yeah, I guess we'll take the Shatter Skull. I think this is just a Niv Mizzet turn. See a board wipe from our opponent. We'll get our 3/3 out of the deal. Or could see a Cast Out, but if we see Cast Out, it means they're not answering Rao. What does this mean? This means board wipe, doesn't it? Because if we kill this, we get the 3/3, and then yeah, we'll let Rao take it.
Nothing feels broken.
Oh. Sometimes when you know, you know. Our opponent wanted us to kill that, so we'd lose the 3/3 in the deal.
Decisions.
Ionize is great. I think we're not going to cast Niv Mizzet at the moment. We're gonna wait. Just cycle the Sweltering Suns, hold up Opt, and Ionize. Or we might hold Opt, I guess, for when our opponent wants to. We're gonna flip Search Cancer here for when we want to play Niv Mizzet in the same turn. Oof. So yeah, I think we're on the burn plan here. Our opponent's going to try and answer our Niv Mizzet and that, but we'll just try and burn them out.
Well, let's see what the wind blows in.
I guess just another counter spell. Just keep passing the turn back. We'll attack here, put them to 9, and then yeah, just keep burning. So this is why I think I like our Azorius matchup. Is that our opponent wants to grind us. Yeah, they were mulligan to 5, which fair enough. Absorb is annoying. But we have quite a bit of burn in hand. And these ionized shocks are paying off. Ooh, yes, nice. I mean, we had lethal, didn't we? So against Azorius, I think we actually have maybe too much in the board for Azorius. What do we not want? Guess Rail's Outburst, Sweltering Suns. Lightning Strike's probably one of our worst cards. And, like, I think we prefer Bone Crusher Giant over Brazen Borrower. No, that's insane, isn't it? That's mental. Rouse Outburst is okay because it replaces itself, but I think we've got enough good cards that we don't need to keep it in, so we'll run it like that. Okay, so on the draw this time round, and yeah, I think we're going to keep this. Hand is a little bit expensive, but Chandra's Awakened Inferno seems solid, and double opts, we're just like exclusively digging for lands here. We have quite a few digs for them as well. Just land, please. Yep. Man, I love opts. So we'll shock in. I don't think the life's going to matter too much, but the opportunity to Brazen Borrower the Narset back to the hand. Probably worth it. So opponent has a counterspell for sure. Yeah. Keep some counter magic. Maybe we should have bottomed out actually looking for a land. We have enough stuff to do. Yeah, should have bottomed the Iron Eyes, I think. Yeah, sort of clicked that in a frenzy. Just Brazen Borrower here. Just start putting some pressure on. Okay, we top deck to land naturally. Thank God. Gotta bottom anything that's not a land now. Now we get to either do another Brazen Borrower in the end step, or we can just hold up Iron Eyes. But if this Brazen Borrower gets in a hit or two, we feel really good. It also puts pressure on their Planeswalkers. I guess they could Shark Typhoon here. If they do, it gives us an opportunity to get down Narset. They could, yeah, Shark Typhoon. I guess they just do it in the end step. Nope. So our opponent looks like they have abundance of lands since they're putting them into the graveyard. So we just go with the second Brazen Borrower here, I think. Because yeah, the deck is all meant to be burn, so if these can get in a few hits. And yeah, just going to Ionize pretty much anything. Opponent likely has another counter spell. Yeah, missing land drops here is unfortunate as well. I think that's how we're going to lose this game. But then, like, Chandra's Awakened Inferno comes down. So our opponent probably has a counter spell for our counter spell. Pact is going to cost them dearly next turn.
This isn't a fight. Hold that thought.
Okay, so are we killing Teferi here? Probably. I still think we're killing Teferi.
That didn't go according to plan.
So our opponent has to pay 5 in their upkeep, yeah. So do we just pass the turn here? If we had one more mana, I'd Narset with expansion up. But I don't really want to play into an absorb. Because our opponent has to pay for Pact here. And then they could have Dovin's Veto up. Yeah, when they hit this land. Okay, land is sweet. So, this is play Narset, I guess. Yeah, Doman's Veto was the one. Can't copy that really. But our opponent needs a board wipe here, or an answer to one of our Brazen Borrowers. And yeah, if Chandra comes down, oh, no way to answer that, and that has lifelink. Sure. Yeah. Our opponent only has 2 cards in hand. We can't just pass the turn and allow them to activate Search Cancer. So I think this is the point where we just throw stuff into our opponent's counter spells and hope, because the lifelink, the burn plan has gone out the window with Baneslayer Angel. Okay, at least it was a Doman's Veto and not an Absorb. I think we need lands here just to play this Niv Mizzet and Chandra, because Chandra can answer this Baneslayer Angel. Can also tick up to be able to just put our opponent on a clock. Yeah, no blocks. So we get to put our opponent down a little bit here. So I think our plan's going to be Brazen Borrow this back, because our opponent could have a counter spell and activate Search Cancer. Oh no. What have they got? Sphinx's Revelation. No! Okay. Cannot copy that. Yeah, I mean, that resolves. Sphinx's Rev is bad. We should have held on to that negate, maybe. And, like, they just drew 6 cards. Yeah, they have the second one. Yeah, and I think that's nail in the coffin there. I think missing our land drops was painful. Yeah. Can't finish off the Baneslayer Angel. I mean, we can block for a few turns. I mean, we're not out of it. Let's yeah. I guess we shall attack. I think we're on the blocking plan now, aren't we? Yeah, that Sphinx's Revelation was good.
Let's skip to the good part.
So yeah, blocking here. Opponent's giving us the opportunity to kill Teferi. Don't really want to fall to 1 though. It says first strike, yeah. If our opponent has a Shark Typhoon, we'd be dead. Yeah, we really need that to be an untapped land as well, so we can come down with Chandra. I guess we're just passing turn.
No time for a break.
So yeah, we got our opponent all the way down to like what, for 4 or 5, something like that. Yeah, we're going to try and stop that Shark Typhoon. If our opponent wants to fight over this, then kind of happy to do so. Okay, so I think we start with Chandra. Since it cannot be countered.
Get out of my way. I'm burning up here. Bye-bye.
And yeah, dead to a Shark Typhoon. Well, we're not just dead, we'll fall to 1. They can Shark Typhoon for 5. Yeah, so you're going to fall to 1. Unless our opponent wants to kill Chandra.
You know what? I'm not done.
Yep.
Fizzled out.
It's funny, banishing Lighting sort of leaves us open to an out of being Brazen Borrower.
Just the trick for this.
I'm saying it out, like an extra turn. Yeah, we're not gonna show him the new visit. We'll just skip it up. Whew, missing land drops felt unfortunate there. Right, Bane, Slayer, Angel. Not much we got against that. I guess like Hour of Devastation can answer it. Along with Teferi as well. And Narset, all of their stacked Planeswalkers. But probably just run out about. I feel like missing a land drop there was really unfortunate. And should go better the next time. What do we think of this hand? This hand is slow. But we have lands. We have Expansion Explosion to do something. Double Chandra is unfortunate. We're going to keep it. If we're on the draw, I'd probably mulligan this hand away, I think. I think just having double Chandra is a little bit poor. Negate's really good. Search for Scantus eventually going to win them the game. So yeah, if our opponent taps down here, we've got Chandra for next turn. Are they playing around with a Mystical Dispute? We'll test the waters. I guess even if they did, Chandra would be fine. I think we actually just get down Chandra.
When people start, yup, you're going down.
So I would have really liked that land.
Your weapon won't help you win.
Okay.
For this.
So we can finish off Gideon with Bone Crusher Giant, copy it. Do we want to use our Expansion Explosion on that, though? Like, probably not. Our opponent could have a Teferi coming down next turn, so we really need to hold up Iron Eyes, I think.
Today's my lucky day.
Well done.
We'll leave it like that. Oh, wait, damage can't... Oh! Sweet. Didn't see that line. Yeah, sweet. For anyone who didn't see that, along with me, Bone Crusher reads damage can't be prevented this turn, so Gideon can't prevent damage. So it switches off the Brazen Borrower. I think we have to let this go since our opponent could easily counter our counterspell.
Hone your prowess.
And they're essentially just cycling Narset here. Hmm.
I still have much to learn.
Are we just ticking up? And now they've got the threat of Chandra. Opponent's going to scoop it up. Yeah, Chandra Emblem for the win. There's a reason we love Chandra, and it's because she can do everything you want in a Planeswalker. Okay, so on the draw with Izzet Control, and yeah, this hand looks okay. We get to go turn 2 Brazen Borrower, turn 3, or turn 2 Petty Theft, turn 3 Brazen Borrower. We'll keep. Let's have a look. Okay, so we got our curve fixed, which is pretty nice. Opponent's on turn 1 Scattered Grove. Does this mean it's the Lifelink or the Hate Bears deck? Maybe Hate Bears, or maybe just like Blink? Maybe they're also running blue. See our opponent's on. I guess if they're on Blink, they'll probably be running Yorion. Don't really want to Petty Theft that back to our opponent's hand. Don't really want to Petty Theft that back as well. Opponent might be on the... Yeah, opponent's just on like a value creature deck. Maybe we just bounce a Charming Prince anyway. Just to reduce damage. I was taking 4 next turn. Because our opponent scryed both to the top anyway, so we don't lose out on that much value. Yeah, I guess we'll counter their play this turn. They go double 2-drop though. It makes our Rouse Outburst worse. And then hopefully our opponent goes Scavenging Ooze here. Okay, another Bugler. Apparition. It's a nice one to know about. Do we just wipe both of these away? Because if our opponent goes like Selfless Savior next... Okay, it's until end of turn, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, because I guess we could Rouse Outburst one of them. Or our opponent's face. And then Sweltering Suns for a little bit of extra value. If our opponent goes like Selfless Savior, then we could always Sweltering Suns next turn. And then when they sack the Selfless Savior, copy it. But that doesn't feel too great as well. Just do we get our 2-for-1 or do we go a little bit greedy? Let's go greedy. If our opponent does nothing this turn, then we will just take one of these out. Okay, so I guess we're on the Sweltering Suns now, since we can't cast Rouse Outburst. It's nice, they can just blink. I'd imagine the list they're playing is very resilient through board wipes. So we get a lot of value there, but our opponent's still got more cards than us because they keep finding more. Hopefully, though, if we can just keep hitting our land drops, then Expansion Explosion will take over for us. Mistake. I made this mistake earlier as well with a previous deck I was playing. The Archon enters tapped. We should have Roused Outburst first. I guess we want to still outburst this ooze before it grows. Yeah, Niv Mizzet looks great. That will not die to Apparition. Our opponent can only... Is this opponent? Each player can only cast one spell a turn. Yeah, so our opponent can only cast a Selfless Savior. Yeah, get that Collected Company down now. No! 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we're not dead. That is the first time I've not seen this card see play in time. Yeah, we'll keep that. Sunwing, what a card. Thalia is going to tax us a bit. I guess we just get to ping the Thalia here. We could Lightning Strike, but... Yeah, I guess we should have pinged the dog, maybe. So we can do all of our stuff at instant speed. I guess we want to cast one spell this turn. So we Petty Theft the Thalia, pinging the Selfless Savior, and then in our opponent's turn we can Lightning Strike. Can't Lightning Strike and Archon. Because we can only cast one spell a turn. So we're going to do that. Ping the Selfless Savior. No more Indestructible. Steam Vents is going to enter taps anyway. I'm going to remember this time. No attacks. So can Niv-Mizzet hold the board for us? We get to kill one of these creatures. Unfortunately, we can only cast one spell, so expansion is a little bit worse. But we could just go for the explosion. I mean, explosion with Niv-Mizzet is what we like to do in the day. Do we want to... I guess we want to wait for the Thalia to resolve, since we don't care about the extra cost. So yeah, we'll hit Archon, draw with Niv-Mizzet, and then ping Thalia. And then I guess Expansion Explosion next turn is going to... What we do it for? Expansion Explosion for 4. So we hit our opponent for 4, draw 4. Yeah, seems sweet. Let's just bring in our extra interaction. Do we want Chandra for board wipe purposes? It hits basically everything our opponent's got. Like, Expansion Explosion's a little bit worse, but not awful. Like, I like most of our cards in this matchup. Maybe we cut the Expansion Explosions. We have enough value. Maybe like Rouse Outburst, just like one of our more expensive removal spells. I'm not sure. Maybe we only want one Chandra. Run it like that. Unfortunately, I think this is a hand we cannot keep, so we're going to mulligan this way. This hand is much better. Just going to put an island on the bottom, I think. Then we have the potential of 4 lands, but Shatterskull can also 2 for 1 our opponent. This hand should be quite good against what they're doing. It actually might have been an idea as well to keep in the Chandra and take out 1 Iron Eyes. Since being on the draw, the Iron Eyes is a little bit worse. Oh. Whenever it's dealt damage, you gain a life. And then you create a 1/1. It's got protection from blue. So Brazen Borrower, that stops quite nicely. Hopefully we don't see an apparition here. Yeah, I think we just block. I think we're happy to just trade these off. Okay, so opponent's just going to pass the turn there. Okay, so many Brazen Borrowers. Opponent's low on cards. Looks like they're drawing quite a few lands. So yeah, opponent can fizzle our Bone Crusher Giant. Let's just castle. Oh, hopefully our Swearing Suns is going to be good. Yeah, I should have been playing around that really. Oh, Swearing Suns is going to be mental. Oh, I guess it won't hit Bugler actually. That will come back in our end step. So it's only going to get 2 things. How much do we like these? We have no instants and sorceries in the graveyard, and we won't have for some time, I would imagine. So I kind of like Chandra, but I think we'll bottom the Row. So let's Swearing Suns. And we'll play this as a land, I think. And yeah, I think we'll just hold up Bone Crusher Giant. Do we just finish off the web actually? Ah, it feels so bad. I guess once the Bone Crusher Giant comes down, it'll be okay. Nice little bit of protection there. Mentor's really good. Really glad we got down the Mentor before all these tokens started coming down. So, yeah, let's just play Bone Crusher Giant. That kind of locks the board down. And then we could shock the Thalia, stomp it in the end step. Oh, another Collected Company. Opponent gets to draw some cards as well. And protect Thalia here if they want to. I don't know if they do though, because if they protect the Thalia here, board wipe doesn't look too good for them. We've only gone through 1 Sweltering Suns, so we have 2 more. And Hour of Devastation. And Hour of Devastation sort of wrecks what our opponent's trying to do. Yeah, I think we're just holding out. I think we've got a better late game than what our opponent's got. Mentor's really good. I'm hoping that we can lead in our late game. Since once we find a sweeper, we're just going to be able to wipe all this away. Dusk, Dawn. Even just the Dawn side of it, though, that they can cast in their graveyard. Return all creatures of power 2 or less. That's all of our opponent's creatures. So let's take this Mentor away. If we can. I assume our opponent gives it indestructible. I bet they're thinking the same thing, just want to get through damage at this point. So yeah, I think we're just going to shock Mentor to get a free drop. Get our free mana to get our free token. And yeah, Brazen Borrower, I guess, if our opponent goes for Chandra. Or if they play a load of 2-drops, 2 power creatures, I guess we could bounce the Mentor. So if our opponent attacks with everything, it just doesn't feel that good. Opponent's got their card draw engine set up. Even if we answer the Mentor, though, they can get all of their stuff back. Yep. We'll see how our opponent decides to attack. No attack. So yes, bounce Mentor. I guess we'll stop this bit of card draw. Let's have a look what's on top.
This'll be easy.
Guess we're casting this. So up to 2. So I guess we cast the value for how much mana have we got? 2. So we have 6 mana. Yeah, I guess we could like take out Scavenging Ooze. Do we care about Scavenging Ooze? Like, probably. And Bugler. Yeah, I need to find a board wipe and an answer to this Dusk Dawn. So Chandra's going to die. We get to answer pretty much the last bit of our opponent's board, but they can recover so well. Oh, they're going to have to go to discard. I guess they're still going to have like a full grip. Just depends how much they want to overextend. So our opponent's deciding what they'd like to discard. I mean, Dust Dawn was good, but our opponent must have had nothing in hand. Otherwise, you definitely deploy as much as you can first. Need like a Niv Mizzet or something here. I wonder if we just scry. We're sort of holding the board at the moment. Scry for a board wipe. Mentor. Let's see if our opponent's last card in hand is unknown card is Collected Company. So it's like really Hour of Devastation here. Wow, grindy though. Against a creature deck like this, I would have assumed that it wouldn't have been as grindy as this. Does Niv Mizzet save us? So we can Niv Mizzet for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we'd have 3 mana left over, in which we could Shatter Skull for 0. Killing Thalia, I guess, and then we'd have 3 blockers. So we could block 1, 2, 3. I guess Niv Mizzet's okay. And then, yeah, we just want like a burn spell on top. I don't think we need to play the Brazen Borrower, but we'll play it. So, do we Shatter Skull for... I guess our opponent will just give it Indestructible with a Selfless Savior. So we can block 3 things. 1, 2, 3. Take 1, 2. So we take 4 here. So opponent has an answer to one of our creatures. I don't know what they could have. It's like Skyclave Apparition. We'll pass the turn and see. But I think if we're going to have an out, then Niv-Mizzet is going to be our out. Like, Hour of Devastation will buy us a turn. Okay, this does not take our Niv-Mizzet, and Brazen Borrower can't block anyway. They've gone past quite a few of them already, I think. Just one. So I assume our opponent like doesn't attack here, maybe, just so they don't run their force into a wall. Oh, that's a good answer. It is 4 mana to activate, though. So let's answer these Selfless Saviors first. So I guess we Shatter Skull for 1, which is 4 mana, and we target. Do we Lightning Strike first? Lightning Strike's a little bit cheaper. We need to kill this Hanged Executioner. But we also need to take out the Thalia. Oh, we did that incorrectly. No! Mistake. Mistake, yep. Yeah, that was a big mistake. That's cost us as well. We should have Shattered Skulled first, so we had the instant speed flexibility of so Lightning Strike's taking Thalia. Yeah, we needed the instant speed flexibility of Lightning Strike. So I guess we can do this for, it says Indestructible, 3. And then we can still play a 2-drop with our land. And we'll target Apparition and one of their 1-drops so we can get an extra blocker out. Yeah, that was a huge mistake. So I guess we can take out Mentor with the Opt as well. Did it assign 2 damage to the... My god. It doesn't really matter because we'll draw off the Opt, but it assigned 2 damage to the token. No attacks. But yeah, like, oh, that was such a big mistake. We should have Shattered Skull Smashing, and then when they gave it Indestructible in response, done that. Yeah, that Niv-Mizzet was our route to victory, I think. Our opponent only has 19 cards left in library. They've drawn so many cards. We found 1 board wipe as well. There's another one. So I guess for the Sweltering Suns to stay alive, we may as well attack. This has Hexproof from blue. So our opponent gets their 1/1. Let's see what they want to protect with the Selfless Savior. Archon. Yeah, no more spells, so take 3 this turn. We can Bone Crusher Giant, I guess. The Sapling. I assume our opponent's Scavenging Oozes here. I think we need to scry with Castle. Opponent has 18 cards left in library. We've run him out of cards though. They've got 2 left in hand. We've and we made some pretty big mistakes along the way. Niv Mizzet can chump block this Ooze, I guess. So play Niv Mizzet, chump block the Ooze, and with the Bone Crusher Giant we can take out the Sapling. I guess with the Bone Crusher Giant we can take out the Archon. So yeah, we're on the chump block Scavenging Ooze. And they're gonna, I guess they eat our creatures first. We don't have any. So yeah, chump block, Bone Crusher Giant, the Archon. Here we go. Okay, so opponent doesn't want to attack with Archon. We could draw Petty Theft. Are we still going for the Archon and falling to 1? No, I guess it doesn't matter. Since if we draw Petty Theft as well, it'll be an answer to the Archon. The opponent could just eat creatures in response. So yeah. And then yeah, I think that's it. Because we could have killed the Archon instead of falling to 1. But yeah, our opponent just pass out more. They also have Castle Ardenvale, so yeah, gonna scoop it up there. That was very grindy, but mistake we made cost us, I think. But yeah, that's only game 2, so let's move on to game 3. What do we want against what our opponent's doing? I actually think we might want these expansion explosions. I think cutting some number of ionizes instead. Like Lava Coil doesn't feel that good. It's just more interaction, isn't it? Like, it's okay. We didn't find any of our Hour of Devastations, which would have been good. We only found 2 Sweltering Suns as well. So let's find out that and see how we get on. So on the play, I think we can keep this. This hand's okay. We've got some pressure with the Brazen Borrowers. Hopefully our opponent doesn't have the Spider. Bone Crusher Giant looks good. I really like these adventure creatures. Just filling out the curve. Just going to shock this. We'll wait for our opponent to scry, so they get less information. And I think we're going to play the Bone Crusher Giant out before we hold up Iron Eyes. Our opponent could have a Apparition, but I think it's fine risking it. Nope. So now we get a few attacks with the Bone Crusher Giant before we need to hold up Iron Eyes. And double Swirling Suns is okay. Might want to cycle one for a land drop. Thalia. I guess we can just like bounce that back. Just set our opponent back a turn. Land is great. We're going to try and put the pressure on. And yeah, leaving up the option of Ionizing and Petty Theft. Opponent's missing land drops as well. And we're going to bounce this Selfless Savior back. So our opponent can't double block here. We could have waited for them to double block, but I'd rather have the mana available in our turn. Opponent's just going to chump block. So let's just pass. I think land's fine with castle still. Yeah, opponent's missing lands, which is okay for us. So, do we want to trade our opponent's 2 creatures away? Like, probably, because we've got Sweltering Suns, so it works out better with the Selfless Savior. I guess they get to sack and protect their Thalia. Okay. I guess they wouldn't have traded with the Bone Crusher Giant, actually. Yeah, I should probably read cards before I comment on them. So, if our opponent doesn't have the Reach Spider, then looking okay. The second Brazen Borrower. Archon's a good one. Just pushing through damage here. Yeah, let's cycle one of these. Since if we find interaction here, like Chandra, it's all good. So for 3. And then our opponent falls to 1, and then yeah, multiple lethal threats next turn. Sweet! So, really grindy game 2, but game 3 was over pretty quickly, and yeah, Chandra coming through the win, but also some just adventure creatures, just doing double work. Okay, so on the play with some Izzet Control, what do you think about this? We have our 3 lands, but they're going to enter tapped, unfortunately. Probably can still keep this. We've got some good stuff in this matchup. Sweltering Suns if it's a creature matchup. Expansion, Explosion, and Iron Eyes is good for control-y matchups, along with Niv Mizzet. So we'll hope that our opponent's not too fast and we're not against mono red. But probably just going to play out this Shatter Skull. There's an argument to holding it as well. Okay, Shattered Groves. Okay, so opponent's on Bant. 4 color maybe. So, yeah, maybe should have held the Shatter Skull for the next turn. But then I guess we're going to catch a Niv-Mizzet. Nissa, sorry. God, so obsessed with the Niv-Mizzet. Uro. God, haven't played against Sultai, 4-color, Uro business in a while. Thankfully, we drew land, so now we're going to hopefully catch this Nissa. If we don't, then we will cycle the Sweltering Suns. Or Teferi. Either one, all good. Sweet. So we're going to shock this in so we can activate Castle and hopefully find a land for Niv-Mizzet. Yeah, can't stop that, unfortunately. So land for Niv-Mizzet would be great.
Behold, nature's true power.
Is that a mistake our opponent made? They just deliberately chose not to animate a land? I guess both lands are fine. I guess our opponent just deliberately didn't want to animate a land. So it's really down to does our opponent have an answer to this Niv-Mizzet? They do. I think we're going to ping Nissa. I think it's going to be more relevant. Okay, I think we're just going to go another Niv-Mizzet this time. And then if our opponent has another board wipe, then they kill their castle. Hopefully they don't have second Wrath of God. Teferi. Teferi Tuck. Yes. Okay, at least we're getting it back, I guess. So our opponent definitely has an absorb here. So I guess we're Sweltering Suns and then only Explosioning for 1. Okay, I think it's fine then. I guess we still have to do that. I guess our opponent has Pact. Oof. Yeah, not looking good. So, I guess Sweltering Suns, if our opponent pacts, then we can copy the Sweltering Suns. Because we cannot allow this these lands, because the lands are just lethal. So, yeah, I just got at that. Doesn't feel good, though. An opponent still has to pay... Wait, I guess our opponent can't pay the 5 in their upkeep. Oh, wait, 2... Oh! Is there anything we can do about this? No. We can copy the Tails End, but we'd just be countering their own thing. Oh, my God, that would have been sweet. I guess our opponent could have paid anyway. They had the mana with Nissa. Oh, that would have been sweet though. Had they ever lost to the pack. Tails End is nice. Tails End is seeing so much play at the moment.
Harness the elements.
Gideon. Opponents on Planeswalker stack. I think we're going to bring in our Hour of Devastation above our Sweltering Suns. Yeah, I think we're just going to scoop it up there. Contending with too much. Your opponent's giving us a good game. They love it. Okay. This is our control game, so we know how we're playing against this. Let's bring out our Sweltering Suns, but we're going to keep in our Hour of Devastation. So we're going to cut our Rouse Outburst. I don't know how I feel about Rouse Outburst. It's a little bit, maybe we only want 2 of these. Expansion Explosion still feels good. Maybe Bone Crusher Giant. Oh, don't mean to cut that. Bone Crusher Giant's one of our worst cards. to like trim on our adventure stuff since we're bringing in more 2-drops. So we get to go first, and Chandra will hopefully be a haymaker in this matchup, so I'm kind of inclined to keep. Land's pretty nice as well. Yeah, Scry on turn 1. Don't think we need an extra land at the moment. Famous last words, but hopefully we will draw lands for Chandra. Okay, so we got a nice curve lining up here. I think we're gonna... We'll hold on to it. We might want to play it later on. We can always bolt ourselves. We could have always boarded out our Niv-Mizzets in this matchup. I know our opponent probably has counter magic, but we know that from Tail's End. But yeah, between like Wrath of God and Teferi, I'm sure they have like Cast Out or something. Ooh. This opponent has 3, 4, 5, 6 mana available to them next turn. Let's just shock our opponent, I guess.
Yup, you're going down.
The lands that Nissa makes, are they elemental lands? I mean, I'm sure we'll find out soon enough, but...
Right on schedule. Hurry.
It's a pretty good synergy of Lotus Field. Do we want to row? Probably not. We got some stuff to do in hand. Lands would be great. Feel like we're just passing the turn. See what we hit. Yeah, I think we'll decline to cast that. So, do we bounce this back now? That resolved pretty quickly, so maybe our opponent doesn't have a counter spell. Yep. So yeah, Chandra Awakened Inferno, hopefully it comes down and starts doing some business, just upticking. It might be a slow game, but if we can deal 1 or 2 damage to our opponent every turn. Opponent oopsed. They made a big mistake.
This is gonna hurt.
And yeah, let's just start upticking this Chandra. Put our opponent on a clock.
Looks like someone's getting a little sweaty.
And yeah, hopefully between our counter magic we'll be alright. Because our first Chandra Tribal, but Chandra Torch Defiance is threatening ultimate now. So I think we're going to allow this to happen since it doesn't do anything imminently at the moment. And our opponent's going to need a way to answer Chandra Torch Defiance through a counter spell. Whoa, boy. Ultimate, yeah? Just ultimate that up.
There's no problem. Fire can't solve.
And yeah, are we just minusing here? I guess it doesn't matter. We could have Shattered Skull Smashing for 1 and then use the Chandra Emblem to finish off the Uro. Okay, sweet. What do we want? I think we're just running it back. Looks pretty good. So this hand needs to draw lands, but apart from that, it's a really good hand. We've got counter magic, a way to set our opponent back. Kind Come on, deck. Grant us some lands. I think we're 26 lands, but with 4 opts. That's exactly what the doctor ordered. Because of Nissa smacking us with their elemental lands, we will... guess we'll just play this out first. We will try not to bolt ourselves wherever possible. Just allow that. And yeah, we got some, we definitely got some things to do. No, not packed.
Let's keep up the pace.
So I guess then we, in our opponent's upkeep, we Brazen Borrow the Teferi back. Allow them to pay first. Then our opponent's tapped down for this turn. So probably looking at like, well, we've got double counterspell available to us. Or we can just, yeah, Brazen Borrow here and try and start putting the pressure on. I think we're just going for Chandra, aren't we? To start upticking. Chandra's Awakened Inferno is such a good answer to these decks. If we can just get a few emblems off. I know our opponent can gain life with Uro. But they can't tuck Chandra here, really. Well, I mean, they can, but Brazen Borrower will answer the Teferi.
Let's skip to the good part.
Ooh, opponent has something sweet here. I mean, what can our opponent have? Like Pact of Negation? Because we put it on top. They've done it before we draw. So we just get to replay it again. Yeah, we'll take action and put it on top. I'm not sure.
I know who I am, and no one is telling me what to do.
Yeah, and then we just 5 the Teferi.
We should have seen that coming.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure there. Because we could have ionized the 8th Gust, but then if our opponent had a Pact, we couldn't replay it.
I'm known for that, though.
Maybe they've got like a second 8th Gust. They're playing like 2 turns ahead. Maybe not. So I guess we're just ticking up.
Is it just me, or is it getting a little warm in here?
Let's start hitting Teferi down.
Do you want me to phase you out of time?
Let's go with Row. Start getting some extra card advantage. We'll use up our last counter spell on trying to resolve this Row. Do we want to put Ionize back on top? Yeah. Our opponent gets to resolve an Uro next turn. Probably not. Probably Ionize isn't going to be good enough.
We need
Our opponent's definitely outvaluing us, but we got to hope we can hold on through the storm till Chandra's Emblem finishes off our opponent. So hopefully we draw something relevant here. Yeah, Chandra counts. At the very least, Chandra is a shock each turn.
I know. Yup, you're going down.
So 3 damage, 3 lightning strike every turn. Brazen Borrow incoming, shock from Chandra. Come on, let's burn our opponent out. Let's go. Opponent gets to Uro here, go back up. So they get to go up to 9, and then they go back down to 6. Okay. So we could, like, combined using our Chandras to take down this Uro. We could deal 4 damage and then -2. We could do Shatter Skull Smashing for 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then, or we could do it for 5, I guess, and then -1 on the Chandra. And it will exile the Uro. Let's see what we draw first.
This'll be easy.
So tempting to cast this. I think we cast this. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're gonna have 2 mana left open to us, yeah. Let's cast an Izzet. It's I don't know if it's the right play to make. Yeah, let's just tick up.
Is it just me, or is it getting a little warm in here?
Our opponent can't kill our big Chandra this turn. And I don't know if they're going to be able to offset the damage of Awakened Inferno for much longer. We'll let the Chandra fall.
I am out of here.
Opponent's going to be able to recast this other Uro, so exiling this one might not just be that wise. I guess it buys us like a turn, but our opponent gets to gain the life next turn anyway. I honestly think the best thing to do here is just keep ticking up the Chandra. Opponent's going to be taking 4 damage a turn at the moment. They're 5 damage as of next turn. Yeah, we're just going straight face. Yeah, you know what? We're going for the burn. This is what our deck was meant to do.
Hope it's not too hot for ya.
So opponent gets a shark. Let's draw first. Ping our opponent. Let's Petty Theft the Uro back. Draw again. Ping our opponent again. Oh, yes, please. No, don't let this resolve. Okay, I thought that was gonna resolve automatically. Okay, draw again. Oh my god, we're doing it! We're doing it! We still get the card draw. Yes! Oh yes. So it was dodgy whether we cast the Niv-Mizzet or not, but we got greedy because we love Niv-Mizzet so much, and yeah, it paid off. But opponent tried to stop us there, but no, Niv-Mizzet is too strong. I think we can keep this. The mana's a little bit awkward, but hopefully we draw a basic or something. We're against Lurrus of the Dream Den. We'll see which version this is. Spirit Dancer we have a really bad matchup against. Okay. So opponent's on the like Pyromancer list with no turn 1 Four.Vs. But yeah, Spirit Dancer is one of our worst matchups since we don't have an answer to that. Oh, okay. Rogues. In my experience, rogues have a really difficult time answering Niv-Mizzet. But people who watch the channel relatively often will know I'm petrified of being milled. So, hopefully we don't get milled. Hopefully. Takes the Brazen Borrow. Expansion Explosion. I don't think we need that. It's going to probably just be countered. So we have a land next turn to hold up Iron Eyes. Have to take a bit of damage from it. So this is going to put enough cards in the graveyard. So they're going to be beefed up. Okay, land's great. All of that went through really quickly, so it makes me think our opponent doesn't have a counter spell. He's going to have to take a bit of damage here. Opponent knows we've got double Iron Eyes. So yeah, we're just going to rouse Outburst here, try to. Just take one of these out. Opponent found a counter spell now. Drown in the lock, nice. So, what do they take? Row here? Or Shatter Skull Smashing? I guess Row is better to take, because otherwise you have to beat it down for one turn. This way you get to deal a little bit of extra damage. So, if our opponent has a counter spell, then we're sort of dead, aren't we? Can play Chandra, can't play Chandra tick up, so I guess we're just Shatter Skull Smashing for 2. And yeah, we're very close to death. Haven't found any of our like Bone Crusher Giants, we only found the one Petty Theft. So hopefully our opponent doesn't have another Thieves Guild Enforcer or another creature. It's asking for a lot, but gotta try and answer this Thieves Guild Enforcer here. The pause is not promising. No, sweet. Right, let's go sideboarding. So I feel like we have a good matchup against this. I feel like we just didn't find any of our early game interaction. I feel like we want our Chandras. We'll cut our Expansion Explosions. Yeah, Lava Coil seems good as well. And yeah, maybe just run it like that. No, I don't think we want to bring in our counter spells. I think that's fine. Iron Eyes is better on the draw. And yeah, let's just run like that. Okay, so on the play, we have our 3 lands. We have Niv-Mizzet in this hand, so probably going to keep. Got some interaction with Lightning Strike as well. Gonna start with Temple, so at least we can Lightning Strike on turn 2 if we want to. Hopefully our opponent can't Fort-Seize us. If they can, then lose our Niv-Mizzet. I think outside Fort-Seize, our opponent doesn't really have an answer to Niv-Mizzet. Yeah, I think land looks good. Unfortunately, all of our lands are going to enter tapped. We do have a lot of shock lands in that. Here it comes. Yeah. So our opponent definitely takes Niv-Mizzet here. The only way they don't take Niv-Mizzet is if they have their second hand hate spell, or they don't intend for us to get to Niv-Mizzet. So I assume they have like second hand hate spell here. Each other road you control enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter on it. Whenever a creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it deals combat damage to a player, that player discards a card. It's not very nice. We just like bouncing that back. We're just doing it now so we don't get drowned in the locked. I mean, our opponent can't drown in the lock anyway, but I think setting our opponent back like this is fine. Doesn't have flash. Okay, that works out really well for us. Now we get to... Our opponent has to have an answer to Niv-Mizzet next turn as well. They're stuck on 2 lands, but if they have the extra Four.Vs, they have to go for it now. I don't know what our opponent could have. Like, they could definitely have removal for Niv-Mizzet. They could have the 1-drop that can be kicked for 3 mana to destroy a target creature. Which would be a really good answer to Niv-Mizzet. We still get to draw a card off of it though. Opponent's just gonna scoop it up there. Yeah, I don't know what answer they could really have. I think we're just gonna run it back. What do we think about this hand? Not great against Four.Vs, since they take our Sweltering Suns and then we're doing nothing, so probably mulliganing. Oh, this hand looks so much better. Keep this. Maybe we're just putting the Shattering on the bottom since we have tons of removal anyway, and we'd rather lands that don't deal damage to us. But yeah, tons of interaction here. Guess we'll hold this in case we just flood out. Opponent's just taking a second to contemplate their next play. Sending love your way. Sweet. I think we're just gonna Bone Crusher Giant this, since Lava Coil's got a bit more reach than Bone Crusher Giant, and it gives us something to do proactive next turn if our opponent does nothing. So our opponent can't drown in the lock this. Sure thing. Just play out the Bone Crusher Giant. It's just pass turn. And we'll shock our opponent. So yeah, could have just played the Bone Crusher Giant there to avoid our opponent being able to Soaring Fort Thief. Would have probably been correct. We are very, very close to being able to cast Niv-Mizzet. If our opponent doesn't have a hand hate spell next turn, then they might be in trouble. Drown in the lock. Opponent have another counter spell. Yep. Okay, so it really comes down to, does our opponent have a hand hate spell? Because if they do, then we're sort of left with nothing, so... But you better believe it, opponent. Turn 6, Niv-Mizzet is coming down. If you were hoping to avoid it, it's not going to be the case. Swamp into Four.Vs. No. Okay. Sweet. Niv-Mizzet down. What has our opponent got? Do you have a spell to take down Niv-Mizzet? Give us a little bit of value since we get to draw a card, but... Like I said, our opponent could have answers to it, and definitely they saw it in the last game. So there's every opportunity that they do have an answer to it. Curious Obsession. Double Curious Obsession, so our opponent is planning on attacking here. If our opponent flashes out another Soaring Fort Thief, then that might be their answer to it. Otherwise, we let our opponent draw 2 cards. And let our opponent draw. Because if they flash out another Soaring Fort Thief here, then we lose our Niv-Mizzet. There you go. Then we got nothing going on anymore. This way as well, we get 2 Sweltering Suns. We get to take out this Fourth-Vs, and I guess we could Shatter Skull Smashing as well. So let's Sweltering Suns. And we get to take out actually both Fourth-Vs here. Our opponent needs to be able to play through an Ionize. Sweet, this works out so well for us. So ping here. And then ping our opponent. Draw an extra card. Yeah, ping. Sweet, yeah. All's good in the land of Izzet Control. Just got a lot of value. And let's see if our opponent thinks they can play through that. Their answer to Niv-Mizzet is going to be in the form of an instant or sorcery, so we're going to get some additional value anyway. But it doesn't look like they do, otherwise they would have just answered it last turn. I think our opponent's just dead here. Yeah, I think opponent's just dead. Good game. Sweet. Izzet Control? Pretty sweet when you get down the Niv-Mizzet and your opponent doesn't have an answer to it. There's some decks that just cannot beat Niv-Mizzet. But yeah, amazing. Rogues feels like a good matchup for us. Howdy guys, cheers for making it to the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed watching some Izzet Control. Not the most competitive list we've ever played, and probably something we'll come back and play again because it's so much fun to play. Niv-Mizzet Perun is such a fun card and it just provides so much value. If you like playing Control, it's probably because you like having control of the game, drawing a load of cards, and that's what Niv-Mizzet does. You have complete control. Your opponent is not stopping Niv-Mizzet. It is resolving, and 9 times out of 10, maybe 8 times out of 10, maybe even 7 times out of 10, you are drawing a card off of this when your opponent tries to answer it. There are some answers. They can Planeswalker it, Teferi Tuck it, or like Enchantment Removal it, but most of the time you can draw a card off of it. And yeah, Niv-Mizzet is just outstanding. It's the reason to play this list. The adventure creatures were really good as well, just outstanding. We always play Bone Crusher Giant, not so much Brazen Borrower, but Brazen Borrower is really nice. It adds to the burn effect of the list, since your opponent doesn't really want to answer Brazen Borrower because it feels like it's such a non-threat. But then once it deals 3 or 6 damage to them, it's like, okay, well, this is starting to stack up now. I kind of need to do something about this. And yeah, Chandra, loved her. What do we think of Rao's Outburst? I mean, we boarded it out in almost every game that we played, I think, just as one of our worst removal spells. But I don't know. Probably won't be playing it again if we come to rebuild the list. I mean, it's quite good if we got to expansion it, copy 6 mana to so effectively draw 2 and deal 6 damage to something. Is pretty good combination. But yeah, that was the list. I hope you guys enjoyed the gameplay, and let me know what you thought in the comments down below, because there's always room for improvement. Do you like this list? Do you reckon it could be more burn orientated? I originally considered putting in Dynavolt Towers just because we had so many instants and sorceries. Maybe we could run like Harness Lightnings and like Whirler Virtuosos as well, just to add a little bit more kind of burn, because Whirler's Thopters can do some damage. Can also, I don't know, like we could run that. Dynavolt Tower, just the such high density of instants and sorceries is going to gain a lot of energy. And we kind of need to be activating Dynavolt Tower twice, though, to make it really relevant. And then it like 6 damage for 3 mana is quite good. But yeah, that's the list. I hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said, put your comments down below. And yeah, I'm just rambling now. So until next time, stay safe.